know what time it is. Welcome to Chattin 88. Spending time with me, that's great. Every single week we have a guest. 'Cause spending time with me is the best. Oh, Chattin 88 at 8. Oh, spending time with me, that's great. 'Cause every single week we have a guest. 'Cause spending time with me is the best. Hello to all my lovely friends across the country. Here we are. And welcome to Chattin 88 at 8. My name is Curtis LaBelle. And you may notice that we have a little bit of a different set behind us here today. We're in the Hot Shoe Studio. We're not at the Vinyl Den. So we're trying a couple of new locations, and today we've moved into this lovely studio here. We're still in Red Deer, but we're in a different location. So that really doesn't matter. What matters is we're coming to you, and we are here, and that's the best thing. And I'm really enjoying coming to meeting with new people across the world, and I'm just blessed, and I'm so honored to have met so many people off of this. And I'm going to be coming back to you every Wednesday. We are going to go till the second week of December, and then we're going to have a Christmas break, because Christmas break is coming. We have a lot of wonderful things happening for you today. I have a bunch of a couple of things that I want to say in regards to what's hot on today, or what has happened in the music industry on today. And our guest today is Jeremy Doody. This is a force to be reckoned with. Let me tell you, this gentleman is an amazing musician, and he'll be joining us in about, as the regular time is, 10-15 minutes in. However, I wanted to play a song for you, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this original song I'm going to sing for you. It's called "You Found Me," and I wrote this last year. And actually, no, we're still in 2020. We're still in 2020. As much as I want to be out of 2020, we are not there yet. So this is called "You Found Me." I'm going to take my glasses off.
I hope everybody's staying safe and everybody's doing what they need to do in order to be successful. Right now, we don't want any more lockdowns, even though it might be an inevitable thing. We're all in this. We are in this together if we want to be. So make a choice. Okay, so this is "You Found Me," and I hope you enjoy.
Shattered glass just like you do. I feel lonely when there's only me, not you. Can't be afraid to be apart anymore. Take my hand, I'll show you. I'm so happy you found me. I'm awake in the moment we're together, losing everything, can't be forever. Can't be afraid to be apart anymore. Take my hand, I'll show you what I'm looking for. I wanna love you more and more. I wanna love you more and more. I wanna love you more and more. in the mirror, I will hold you in my arms. You're my first class ticket, oh baby, you're the one. Baby, you're the one. I wanna love you more and more. I wanna love you more and more. Oh, I wanna love you more and more. I'm so happy you found me. Oh, you found me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That is You Found Me. I realized that I sang the second verse to be the same as the first verse. There's different words for that, but that's okay. We are adjusting things around here in the studio, so I hope you're enjoying tuning in. If you're just tuning in right now, welcome to Chattin 88's at 8. My name is Curtis LaBelle, where we host. We host. I'm lost right now because we have technical stuff happening, and I'm trying to keep my focus. But that's okay. I have a lovely opportunity to interview a bunch of different artists here and there from around the country. I've just been given new headphones, and we're going to put these in. Yes, this is a new headphone. This is perfect. Lovely. Okay, so focus. I have no idea what was I saying, and I can't even ask anybody because I can't get a response from you guys. So I hope this is entertaining. Where was I? I'm sorry. Somebody tell me what I was. Okay, so at any rate, that was You Found Me. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's move on to On This Day. On This Day. All right, so on this day, let me grab my cheat sheets here. On this day, let's see what we got. And the specs, you say. We have to bring in the spectacles now. This is what's happening. So on this day, 1970, Led Zeppelin the third. Now I say the third, but their third album, I think it might be called Led Zeppelin third. I'm not sure. I have to get that figured out. Became their #1 hit in the US and UK. Very exciting. On this day, Danny Whitten, singer-songwriter, died at 29 of a drug overdose. And this is what I've learned about this gentleman. Is he wrote a Rod Stewart song, Don't Want to Talk About It, and a Neil Young song, Needle and the Damage Done. Sounds like a pretty intense song lyric there. That's pretty crazy. 1978, Billy Joel went #1 in the US. Love it. 1992, Black Sabbath was honored a star at the Rock Hall of Fame in Hollywood on this day. We also have 2001, Britney Spears scored her second US #1 album. Very exciting. If you have any tips or hints or anything that you feel like I should be like telling everybody what's going on, that would be absolutely wonderful. Please let us know. You can give us an email at chattin88@8. I have here, thank you very much, we have our album of the week. And not only is this an album of the week, here we are, Rod Stewart. This is a really cool album, actually. And what's really cool about this album is that we may not be in the Vinyl Den today doing this show for you. However, this album does come from the Vinyl Den. Now, the Vinyl Den is a retail space and an entertainment, small little entertainment and cafe candy shop downtown Red Deer on Ross Street. And you can get all your lovely vinyl needs there. And today's album pick is Rod Stewart, Tonight I'm Yours. And I'm just going to, there's what's really special about, there's two things. The album itself, there is this lovely gentleman, Rod Stewart. Isn't he nice? Look at that. This is a special album. On this album, I didn't know this until the owner, Will, mentioned it to me today. Never Give Up on a Dream, which is a song written for, check this out, Terrence Stanley Fox. That's Terry Fox, our lovely Canadian. So this is very exciting. Never Give Up on a Dream, which I also found out the lyrics were written by 3 individuals, and one of those individuals is Bernie Taupin, who writes the music for, writes the lyrics for Elton John. So that's very exciting. The other artists on the other lyricists are Stuart and Craigan, Jim Craigan. I don't know Stuart's first name. But anyway, that's very exciting. And now what's really cool about this is that at the Vinyl Den, what's happening right now is during the Christmas season, we have, I shouldn't say a bunch, but we have a select few of these specific albums that for right now, if you go down to the Vinyl Den in Red Deer, Alberta for your Christmas shopping, you can get some gift certificates there. If you, whatever amount of money you spend right now, for $5 while quantities and limited quantities last, you can pick up this lovely Rod Stewart album for $5 at the Vinyl Den with any purchases that you make. Mention my name and you will get 10% off any of my merchandise at the Vinyl Den as well. So make sure that you get on down to the Vinyl Den and make your purchase. And for $5, you can get a limited, while quantities last, a Rod Stewart Tonight I'm Yours vinyl. And they are cleaned and they're in really good condition. They're all original copies. So that's absolutely cool. You can go down and get that. Okay, how are we doing for time? Awesome. I think it's time that we bring in our guest. This gentleman I've had the opportunity to work with this gentleman twice now, and he has played guitar. He played guitar on 2 of my songs, Pawn in My Shade and Five Finger Dance. It's absolutely a real treat to have this gentleman touch my music and put his stamp and signature and add something to it. It's amazing. A lot of people know this man in our community, and I am so excited to bring him on. So please put your hands together for the lovely Jeremy Doody. Yeah. Mr. Doody, are you there?
I am here. How are you doing? Hello.
Hi, my friend. I cannot hear you.
You cannot hear me?
I think we have to change the setting on ours to go from the computer audio instead of... I think it's on our end, Jeremy. You look great, by the way. You can hear me, right?
I can hear you perfectly.
You can hear me fine. So I can't hear you. I can see you. So I'm just going to describe the image. I love the
striped shirt. You can't hear me at all?
You can't hear me? Oh, you can hear me. I love the striped shirt. I love the beard. I dyed my beard actually the other day.
Nice.
Just to get rid of some of the gray. I had somebody mention it to me that they can see the gray. And I was like, okay, well, maybe now we're going to use real tech. You're looking for real tech is what you're looking for. Okay. Oh, Jeremy, I can hear you. Say something.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Curtis. How's it going, man?
Oh, it's going absolutely amazing. I think, don't you just love technology?
I do. I actually don't. I hate it. The first time I tried to do a guitar lesson over Zoom, it took 45 of the 50 minutes of the lesson to get the sound working.
You know, it's kind of an inevitable thing right now, and I know I'm learning a whack ton. I don't think I like it either, but I don't have a choice right now, do we?
Oh, I know. It's a necessary evil.
A necessary evil, technology. I love it. Well, Jeremy, dude, this is exciting. I know there's a few people around town that'll be like, oh my God, I got to watch this talk show with Jeremy tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, I hope they enjoy it.
I'm sure they will. Here's what we're going to do, my friend. I'm just going to shoot the shit with you. We're going to have a conversation, get to know you, people who haven't had a chance to know who Jeremy Doody is, but they know the guitar god of Central Alberta, but they don't know the name or the background of it. So first off, Jeremy, before we go anywhere, tell us a little bit about where you're from, some of the things about your childhood that you remember, like no music involved here. Let's just get to know you, where you come from, you know, what did your dad do for work sort of thing. Let's get to know Jeremy a bit.
So I was actually born in Newfoundland.
You're a Newfie.
I am. I was born in Placentia, Newfoundland. It's right near where the ferry comes across. And then I grew up in Alberta since I was 4. I moved to Fort McMurray when I was 4, lived there up until the end of grade 5. Had a great experience up there, and then moved to a little town west of Edmonton called Whitecourt. I lived in Whitecourt, Alberta, all the way till the end of high school. I went to St. Joseph High School there, and that was where my music really started. And then my dad worked at the pulp mill and a sulfur company, you know, like he was just kind of in the industrial world. And my mom was in the clerical and administrative part of the pulp mill in Whitecourt. And then when I came to Edmonton, it was for university. When I was 19 years old, I came in to the U of A to study saxophone, and then switched to guitar at Grant MacEwan, and that was where I went from there.
So you play a reed instrument. You play that lovely instrument there. Do you still play?
I do. I still actually I sit in with the Jazz Explosion big band and the Red Deer College big band I sat in with on tenor sax for a whole season. It's still a thing that I do for sure. Although I was a classical saxophone player when I went to the university, but I've since become a jazz guitarist, and I just applied what I knew about jazz to my saxophone.
Right, that's all one needs to do. Just the lateral application is just literally across the top.
Totally, these notes go together in this direction to make it sound like jazz.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so give us a ripe old age of how young you are.
My goodness, I'm 43 and a half.
Well, you're older than I thought you were.
I'm older than most people think I am.
I'll take it. That's the long beard. I gotta grow the beard to be longer.
Yeah, it de-ages me.
De-ages. So Jeremy, so you said you went to university for music, is that right?
Yes, I'm currently in my 11th year of post-secondary music education right now as a student.
And folks, I have to interrupt. And for anybody who's watching, or for anybody who's ever heard Jeremy, which we will hear in a moment later on down this, you will understand that I can certainly tell that you have 11 years of education. You are fan-freaking-tastic, man.
Well, thank you, Curtis. I also taught at RDC for 9 years, and those were some of the best training I've ever had. So I'm kind of up there at about 20 years in the academic music world of post-secondary education.
Well, I know that it's a real treat for me to have that knowledge and that expertise come onto a couple of my tracks. So thank you for bearing with my.
I've had a blast playing on your tracks, Curtis. They've been wonderful experiences every time.
Okay, so thank you. So let's go back to, I suppose, when you first started doing. Where did you pick up your instrument from?
From my dad, I guess. I mean, my first musical experience was actually taking up the clarinet in grade 6 for band class. And I just kind of picked the clarinet and I started it, and I really took to it. I really enjoyed band class a lot. And I was about 14 years old or 13 years old. How old was I in grade 6? How old are you in grade 6? I was like 11 or 12, maybe.
I can't answer that question. I was just thinking about how old I was yesterday.
Oh man, it's so confusing. I think I was 11 when I started the clarinet, and then I took up the saxophone a couple of years after that. And then I actually picked up the guitar when I was about 14. That's why that age was in my head.
Yeah.
And I picked up the guitar just because my dad played acoustic guitar around the house, and he sang in the church group, and so I played guitar at church with my dad sometimes, and I played clarinet at church with my dad sometimes. That's how I got into music.
You know what I want to do right now, Jeremy, is I want to dive right into your music, and then we can talk. So let's get the people who are watching right now, and those who are going to rerun this and watch it on Shaw. Let's hear. You look like you're about to do some classical for us. Is that correct? Well,
actually, I'm going to play an original instrumental composition of my own. I'm doing original music tonight, but I do. I'm almost almost done my master's in classical guitar performance, but I won't be playing that tonight.
You know what? You're still a master to me. So this is what's going to happen, Jeremy. Our technician is going to mute me and turn off our camera so that all the focus is on you. And after we kind of bow out here, you're still live. Just let us know what the song. Give us a little bit about the song. It's an original piece. Tell us the title of it, and just a little bit, and then take us away into the land of Jeremy.
Sure.
All right, take it away.
Thank you, Curtis. So this is a piece for guitar that I wrote a little while ago. It's called Joy because it just makes me so happy to play it. It's an instrumental, it's in drop D tuning, and it's just kind of a little round, a little melody that keeps coming back and little interjections in between. I hope you enjoy it.
Jeremy, amazing, man.
Thank you so much.
Amazing. You know what okay, first of all, like that was a little more percussive than I was expecting. That was great. And you know what? It got me jiving because halfway through I was thinking to myself, you know what? Please don't Please, I'm not offending you. I hope when I say this.
Not at all, not at all.
But you know what it made me think of? Moving to the country, gonna
I love that song.
Because you're on D, right?
Yeah, and it's actually an incredibly simple song. There's only 6 notes in that whole song. There's only D, E, F sharp, G, A, and B. And it's always in just 2 combinations. It's always just a D major triad or an E minor triad.
Okay, which brings me to the next. Which brings me to what a topic that I wanted to talk about was a deconstructing songwriting for you. I don't want to talk about how to create a song. I want to talk about deconstructing a song. I find that the reverse engineering of something is a really much easier way. Well, for me anyway. So don't believe a word I say. To learn something is to take it apart. So let's just take that song. Sorry, please remind me. What was it called again?
It's called Joy.
Perfect. So let's just deconstruct it, like you said. For those, for the students that we're reaching, we're not only just a talk show where we're interviewing a Canadian artist and doing content, but we're also sharing knowledge and education at the same time. So as a teacher and instructor, for the students that are going to rewatch this, or for the aspiring songwriter or the artist who wants to get something out of it, let's deconstruct that for us. Explain how you came about that.
Sure. So there's a couple of different concepts that are exemplified in this song for me as a composer. One of them is the idea that you can increase your creativity by reducing your options, by kind of cutting out possibilities, by saying, I'm only going to do this.
Can you say that one more time? Increasing your possibilities by what?
Increasing your creative possibilities by reducing the number of options you have, right? By limiting your choices. And so the example from this song, there's really only 2 sounds in that song. Throughout the entire song, you're always hearing either a D major triad or an E minor triad. And the 6 notes it takes to make that happen is the only notes, and they're never put in any other combination. There's just all the inversions of D major.
So for those in the piano world.
Exactly. And then if you put E minor triads, so there's a space in between the 2 D major inversions. And we fill that space with an E minor inversion. And so we get this lovely scale.
Oh! It's just so joyful.
Yes, and that is the entire sound palette for that song, right?
Love it.
And so by having that limitation imposed on my harmonic possibilities and my melodic possibilities, it really allowed me to focus on other things. And so other compositional concepts like formal repetition and repetition with variation and musical structure, these are the things that come about when you limit those kind of other options and you don't have to think about harmony. There's no chord changes in the song. There's no variety of that kind. All the variety comes from rhythm and melody and repetition, right?
Right. For the people who are not theoretically advanced, and for those who play by ear, if we were to quickly explain we both know the answer to this, but if we were to explain to somebody why it's an E minor in the key of D instead of an E major, can you please just explain to us why that would be?
Well, so it just happens to be that way. The half step between F sharp and G is a big part of what makes the key of D the key of D. So this concept, these 6 notes, is actually the most ancient musical theoretical concept that we actually know about. It goes way back to ancient Greece and the way that they combined their scales and their tetrachords into modes. it used these 6 notes as a kind of framework. And I was just taking this really like deeply ancient musical concept and putting it into practice in this very simple way. But those 6 notes where the half step is in the middle, you get a whole step from D to E, a whole step from E to F sharp, and then a half step from F sharp to G, and then 2 more whole steps to A and to B.
So
right?
so again, sorry, thank you for explaining. Again, we know what's going on, but can you explain, just tell people what that formula pattern was?
Sure. So it's just this. It's do, re, mi, fa, sol, la. And you can hear those have the same interval structure.
I suppose, yeah, sorry, I guess I was speaking in regards to formula pattern, if you will, whole, half, whole, half.
Oh,
half.
sure. So it's just, if you start on D, it's up, whole, half, whole. And then you skip the 7th note of the scale, right? The T in a major scale. You skip that note and just go back to D and just do the pattern again. And so technically the last interval is a minor third. It's from B to D.
Right.
And so it's got that kind of pentatonic sound to it too. But it's also got the half step that a pentatonic scale lacks. It's a really, really interesting scale. Some people call it the hexatonic scale, but it's.
I was trying to figure out what the word was.
Yeah.
Hexatonic. You know what? I appreciate you explaining it in the theoretical form. I have come across myself, Jeremy, so many musicians that I have played with, and I'm sure you have as well, that have no technical training on the theoretical knowledge, but yet can just wail away and play because they're phonologically adapted.
You don't need to know this stuff to play or to write.
No, you don't.
You know, it's just more information. It's just more ways of thinking about what you're doing. If you think purely mechanically on your instrument, you can make beautiful music. If you think purely sonically in your ears and imagine it and figure out how to make the sounds that you imagine, you can make beautiful music. You can also make wonderful, beautiful music by learning everything there is to know about music theory and harmonic structure and everything like that. There's just lots of different ways to make music.
And there is, and I think again, education wise, we can do the theory, but there's so many, a good reminder, like you say, is you don't need the theory to be creative and to just allow the juices to flow, like you say, listen to it sonically and be able to create. And I've frequently, I have come across more of those types of musicians in the last couple of years working in the industry than I have with
more common type out in the wild. When you go to music school, you encounter trained musicians all around you because you're in a training institution. But when you get out into the real world of music making and the practical world of gigging and stuff, you encounter people who don't know or want to know or care about that stuff at all. And you have to be able to make music with them too. You have to be able to communicate your ideas to them and show them what you're trying to get them to play with you or learn what they're playing. Which is their expressions, right?
Yeah, it's a beautiful ambiguity in the sense that being a universal language, not but being such a accessible form. I agree with you 100% that if anybody is listening, please be adaptable. Yes. And be adaptable and willing to step outside that box. And if you don't know theory, great. Just let's give us some numbers at least anyway.
Absolutely. And, you don't have to, if the people you're working with have good ears, you don't have to know anything.
Absolutely.
Because, you can just say, this is what I'm going to play and you guys play along. And if they know how to listen, they'll follow you.
If they know how to listen. It's true. Jeremy, who is an influence for you in the music industry as an adult now? So you're an adult, you're 29 years old, and yeah, who are you listening to right now? Because your genre, you like classical, jazz, rock, blues, like you got it all, man. But who's your person that you're like, this is the artist I'm loving right now?
The artist I'm loving right now. Here's the truth. Here's the truth. I don't really listen to very much music.
Dude, I thought I was the only one.
That's the real honest truth. About 95% of the music I hear in my day-to-day life is music I'm playing. And so I think my biggest influence right now is me. And that's a weird way to put it, but really it's just thinking through it, right? It's thinking your way through music and learning by doing, learning by improvising, learning by composing. That's who's influencing me right now, is my own creative process mostly. Now, I will say this, there's a classical guitar player who I absolutely adore and think is the very best in the world. His name is Paul Galbraith. And if you like the classical guitar,
is he Canadian?
He's not, he's Scottish, and he's a master, absolute master. Okay. Now, absolutely the biggest classical musician influence on me in my entire life has been a Canadian. It's Mr. Glenn Gould. And Glenn Gould's influence has been immeasurable on my sense of musicality, on my performance practice, on my interpretation of classical music. Glenn Gould is an absolute master.
We were talking about him. I had mentioned tonight in my own, we were talking about, because we're in a new studio and we were talking about the height of the piano, and we usually have the purple grand and all that stuff. But we were talking about how high we want this, because I'm sitting on a stool tonight rather than a piano bench. Mm-hmm. And you know, eventually at one point the piano was way up here, and I said, no, I'm not playing like Glenn Gould. I'm not doing, I'm not sitting down on the edge of the, have you ever read Romance on Three Legs by Glenn Gould?
I haven't, no.
This book, it is all about Glenn Gould's romance with the piano. He has written this book. It's called Romance on Three Legs, and he talks about how Steinway had to stop making pianos. I think it was World War II, because they ended up making caskets.
Oh my!
Yeah,
it's very sad.
It is very sad, but the book is amazing. I mean, that's just one chapter in it. However, a Romance on Three Legs by Glenn Gould, and it's I believe the cover is of his chair, his little tiny chair that he would sit on, and he's like that. Yeah. No, so I'm more of this kind of person, but yes, Glenn Gould, I definitely agree with you.
Just the greatest interpreter, I think.
Greatest interpreter of everything, but a master at Bach.
Oh, so great.
A master.
So good at Bach. On all of my Bach that I play, whenever I start the score, I always write the words Glenn Gould at the top of the score to just keep him always in my mind when I look at my Bach scores.
I definitely, I can say that I never really played too much Bach when I was classically training and doing conservatory and all that in piano. But I'm not 11 years in post-secondary education, right. But I encourage myself to challenge to pick up a cantata, and to you know, I think it's important that every musician learn classical music. I think every musician needs to do some sort of classical training at some point in their life.
There's huge benefits to be found by learning to interpret a series of notes that was set down completely in advance by an expert, a world-class expert.
And with purpose.
Yes.
And reason.
Yes, and the work of the classical composers is special. I mean, every piece by Bach or Mozart or Beethoven or Chopin, I mean, you have a guaranteed series of notes there, right? These are tried and tested and true, and they are beautiful. They are kind of perfectly assembled. Mm-hmm. And so learning to put that together, some people think of it as a kind of technique builder, and it is that, because many of these pieces are challenging. But what it really is it's taking the creative burden off of yourself with regard to the notes. And putting that creative burden onto other parts, right? So that you learn to express your music and your feeling and your emotion and your passion about the piece. You learn to express it through someone else's notes, and it puts the focus on what you actually need to do to express something on your instrument. Whereas, you know, when you're a jazz musician, your primary mode of expression is note selection. When you're a songwriter, your primary mode of expression is the notes you choose to sing or to play when you're writing, and the words that you choose. When you do classical music, those decisions are all made for you, but you still have to give an expressive, interesting performance. And so that it's a beautiful thing.
And that's why when Glenn Gould will play a Bach piece, and when if I may, when Morgan will pull out a classical piece, they're both genuinely amazing, simply because, like you say, it's the notes are there, it's the interpretation and the way that that artist brings it out. And you have I personally believe that is never mastered, because it is constantly evolving and constantly changing and ever so growing, because music does that. Music is not stagnant. The art is not stagnant. The only thing that's stagnant is the person who's delivering it.
Absolutely.
That's what's stagnant. And you always seem to pull out more when you play classical music. Every time I've seen you play classical music, I'm like, okay, again, it's like, okay, we're watching this. This is great. I can't take my eyes off you. And it's like,
thank you.
Well, it's true though, Jeremy. I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. It's the honest truth. I mean, I can certainly say that I speak for a large majority of people who have worked with you or who know you.
Well, that's very sweet. Thank you.
But yet, here's the cool thing, is that it changes every single time, because just when I figured that I've got you figured out, I don't.
I think that spontaneity is one of the most interesting parts about playing classical music. If you, there is a certain school of thought about classical interpretation and classical performance that says there is a correct way to interpret this piece, and I'm going to master the correct way to play it, and then they play it that exact way every single time. And that's admirable. I can understand it. But for me, there's something really fun and engaging about intentionally doing it differently each time that you play it a little bit, going with the flow, feeling what you're actually feeling in that moment, reacting to your audience. All those things are still there, even though the notes are preordained. Right? The notes are selected in advance and memorized and ready to go, and I don't change them. Sometimes I change a few, but I don't change them in principle. But then all of those other elements, my dynamics, my expression, my mood, the character I'm trying to present the piece in, is subject to spontaneous interpretation and change based on my whim as the performer. And it's one of the things I love about playing classical music, especially playing it live.
Yeah. I agree with you that, the day definitely, there's merit in doing something, the same thing, cookie cutter, being able to deliver that exact same product every single time. It's hard in its own self to be able to do that exact same thing, but it's a lot more fun and enjoyable, like you say, to go, okay, today I'm having a bad day, so now my interpretation of Carmen is going to be different than my interpretation of it tomorrow, because tomorrow I'll have a cup of tea in me instead.
Yes, absolutely. And actually in the recording studio, it's an incredibly important skill to be able to reproduce the same interpretation over and over again, because classical music, a lot of people think of it as this thing where you have to go through the entire piece from start to finish in this perfect performance. And that's true on the stage, but it's not true in the studio. When you're in the recording studio for a classical record, you're getting, there are hundreds and hundreds of edits sometimes in the course of a single movement to get that perfection that they attain in the studio. And in order to do that editing on a piece that's not played to a click, like pop music is, then that interpretation has to be incredibly consistent.
100%. Speaking of consistency, now's the time for you to do your second song.
Oh, lovely.
I'm excited to see where this one's going to be. Again, we'll bow out, allow our lovely audience to enjoy and take in the loveliness of your music. Again, tell us a little bit about it. What's it called? And take it away, my friend.
So I'm going to sing for you guys this time. I'm also a songwriter, and I do love singer-songwriter work as well. This one is called To Be Found. It's my most recent song, and it uses some some of my intellectual interests as subject matter for the lyrics. Indelibly of our lowly origins, finding fruit among the trees, justifying means with ends. Got a tongue to taste bitter and sweet, and a mind for metaphor. Eyes meant to see just red and green. Now look for something more. There is grandeur in this view of life, as the world keeps spinning round and round and round. Just expand your mind and you will see. There's so much meaning, so much beauty to be found. To be found. To be found. To be found. We climbed up to the mountaintop and stole Olympian flame. We brought it down and burned the world. No one but ourselves to blame. And then we flew so high on wings of wax, we nearly touched the sun. That stone rolls down, we roll it back. It seems our work is never done, never done. There is grandeur in this view of life, as the world keeps spinning round and round and round. Just expand your mind and you will see. There's so much meaning, so much beauty to be found. To be found. To be found. To be found.
I tell you, my friend, you love the key of D, don't you?
I just chose two songs that were in the same key and tuning so that my guitar would be stable today.
I love it. Since we're in, we only have a few minutes left here with you, my friend, and it's been an absolute treat. I sometimes feel like this is like, I want more than an hour to dive in and talk about things, because I'm sure we could sit and talk and deconstruct things and all that stuff. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to share, I wanted to talk about Five Finger Dance and the little tiny rundown in the bridge that you did, because it is also in the key of D. And so I figured, let's just do that really quick. Now, you got your guitar there. What is the, when we got the bridge, if you remember that, beep doo blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I think I do. I think that's it.
Yeah, because C at the end.
A C, right. That's it.
Okay, so so that just kind of came out. Explain to us what little technical thing you did. You dropped out, omitted, and went, holy crap, take out that one, and away we go.
Yeah, so that lick, whenever I'm looking for an interesting lick, I always think about wider intervals. And there's a really cheap and easy way to do that on the guitar, which is just to skip over a string. So typically when you're playing a run or a scale passage or a melody on the guitar, you'll go from string to string and you get these steps, right? But what I did on that lick was to actually just skip over the second string. And so I get these first three notes, and it was on electric guitar. So the first note was a bend that I can't demonstrate very well right now. And see, when I skip over, that's actually a leap of a fifth in the middle of this fast little scale passage. And by skipping that string, I get that wide interval jump. And it's just a lovely little interjection.
It's more than lovely, and I'm telling you, I don't know. You are an amazing artist, and I have put out to the universe one day that maybe if I'm on tour and playing in front of 30,000 people, you'll be playing in the band with me. But I will tell you this much, my friend. I'm telling you this much, my friend. If that doesn't happen, whoever is playing guitar for me, I'm so excited for them to learn Pawn in My Shade and Five Finger Death and whatever else comes out, my friend, because let me tell you.
It's one of my favorite processes is going into the studio on a songwriter's album and making just the perfect guitar part for it, right? It's one of my favorite things to do. There's a creative process involved, and actually working with Curtis Pagoo on that is extremely helpful because he's a great producer and he brings out ideas from me and he suggests things, and it's a collaborative effort to get a beautiful sounding melodic part that fits the song, that doesn't step on any toes, that fills in all the gaps. It's one of my favorite things to do is just play electric guitar in the studio.
It was an absolute treat, Jeremy, having you there that day. And, we had Curtis on as a guest a while back. And I couldn't think, the formula for that song for me was perfect. The right producer, the right artist, the right ambiance, the right atmosphere, the right time and everything. And I am we're actually going to redo the lyrics. I've got we're going to redo some things on it, but we're not just lyric wise. Yeah. So for anybody that who hasn't heard that yet, with the guitar in it, it'll be coming out in the spring of next year. But let me tell you, when you do hear it, people, you need to make sure that you just like Jeremy Doody on that song. It's great.
I can't wait to hear it, Curtis.
It's gonna be great. Okay, so enough about you and enough about me. Let's get back to the world. Thank you so much for being here today, my friend. It is these moments that I enjoy, being able to connect with people, even though we can't through COVID be face to face. I am still humbly honored that I can do this and that we can share moments like this together. To anybody who's watching this, people now know who you are. So let's go a little bit further on it. Where can we find your music right now, Jeremy? Or if somebody wanted to follow you on some sort of platform, where can we find you?
There's not very much of me in the social media world. I do have a YouTube channel that you can find by just searching my name, Jeremy Doody. But most of the videos on that channel are more than 12 years old. I'm a grandfather YouTuber, and most of those videos are from like 13 to 11 years ago is when I was posting on YouTube. But they're still up and they're still there, and some of them have thousands and thousands of views by now. So it's fun. You can definitely check those out. I do post about gigs on my Facebook page sometimes, but I mean, I'm not especially, I'm not a recording artist per se. I'm mostly a live musician. And so I don't have much social media presence online. I apologize for that.
But I can say that if you do want to hear Jeremy Doody on repeat, I'm sure you can catch him on a lot of other albums from different artists in our local area and surrounding areas of our province.
Yes, I turn up in the studio quite a bit.
Yeah, you do. And you turn out an amazing product. Jeremy, to end us here for the day with you and for this lovely evening, please give us a little bit of advice. What would be the one piece of advice you can give us musicians, or really any advice that's not even music related, whatever you want?
I always give the same advice when asked for advice. Practice, practice, practice.
Practice, practice, practice. Jeremy, thank you so much, brother. I'm going to get you to bow out, take yourself out of the meeting, and then we'll finish a couple of other things up here.
It's been my pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
Have a fabulous night. Thank you, buddy.
You as well.
All right, my friends, that is Jeremy Doody, who joined us this evening as our guest. And like he said, you can find more of his stuff on his YouTube channel and on any singer-songwriter from the Central Alberta area that has had Jeremy on their album. You can hear his music or his interpretations of whatever he's put out. It's amazing, and I'm super thrilled that he was been on a couple of my songs. I have nothing else for you to say other than I am here for you on anything. I am here for you as a friend. I'm here for you to chat, to talk. I am in what we're going through right now with everybody during COVID. If you just want to reach out and talk to somebody, please know that we are here for you as well. Our team, we have space for you, and we will allow you to give us an email if you are having a bad day. Give us an email if you are having a good day. Let us know how you feel in the comments on our social media. You can find us on Facebook, that's Chattin88 at 8, or you can talk to me personally on my channel, which is Curtis LaBelle Music, and you can catch some of my stuff on Spotify, YouTube, Deezer, and more. I have my piece of advice for you, and this is it. Please remember that good is the enemy of great. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Oh, Chattin88's at 8. 'Cause spending time with me is the best. Every single week we have a guest. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a fabulous evening. Next week we have Randy Bolton. Absolutely amazing. Peace, love, and cupcakes, and I'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much.